Yeah, so this works. A very long title, but a very simple topic actually. What is it that the brands are doing? What is it that the brands are currently doing? What is it that the brands can do in the future to shape the future of health around the area of wellness? Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I know some of you have had a very, very long day, and I promise to not take too much of your time. So we'll just give you a few thought starters and just a few thoughts of my own about what we have done as a company. We are Bayer Consumer Health. We are a 4-year-old company, 4.5-year-old company, though our brands are over 50-year-old in this particular space. So just getting into the start of, okay, what even is wellness anymore? What is the connection of wellness with self-care? Is wellness still a luxury? When all of us think of wellness, the various 30-step beauty routines start coming into our mind. Or the do nothing Instagram fads which are there. So my personal take and our take as a company on wellness is very simple. It's just what you do every single day that keeps you going, that keeps you energized, and that makes you happy, more or less. That's what wellness is all about. And self-care is really it's the start of wellness, the start of the wellness journey. You can keep adding to it. So it's not a luxury. Wellness is not luxury at all. It's basically the quality of life that you have or the quality of life that you want to lead. The brand role here is actually extremely critical. The brand role essentially is to establish wellness as a daily essential and to move wellness away from this whole, luxury identity that it has in India to very normalized, simple, achievable habits through the brand communication work. And I'll just share something with you which we have done in the past in my next slide. So again, what is the first step over here when we talk about brands reframing wellness itself? So self-care awareness or wellness awareness in India itself is very, very low. Just to give you a perspective, the entire wellness plus OTC plus self-care market in this country is less than maybe about 10% of the entire FMCG space. The penetration levels of most of the wellness products in India, whether it is pain care products, whether it is nutritional supplements, whether it is dermatology supplements, etc., they're all in single digits. So it's a very nascent market in this country. Currently it's a very, very small market. And that's why awareness needs to be the most critical thing. How do you build awareness of self-care in this country? Because we essentially live in a country of workaholics, and this has been proven that we are the most hardworking nation in the world. But are we the most productive nation in the world? Probably not. But we are definitely the most hardworking. We work through pain. We work on weekends. We don't take holidays. We work late at night. You're all sitting here at 5 p.m. And I'm sure this will continue through the evening as well. So I think as a nation, we either don't recognize signs of fatigue, poor sleep as health issues, or we tend to ignore. We tend to gloss over them as though these are very small things. I'll just sleep through them, I'll just live over them, and I'll ignore them until they start creating a bigger problem. So the role of brands in this kind of a scenario in this industry is essentially to educate the consumer, to nudge habits, to grow awareness, to prioritize category growth over just market share gain. This is a market which needs market development. Here, people need to be educated about what this category is. And I'll just show you a couple of films that we've made on our brands, a core brand, Saradon, which is a head pain brand, and a brand, Supradin, which is a multivitamin brand. So when we started a journey in this country as Bayer Consumer Health in 2021, these were the two films that we started the journey on. So can we just play the film on Saradon and Supradin?
ये है मिस 70%, डेडिकेशन 100%, कल करे बट परफॉर्मेंस 70, एम्बिशन 100%, बट परफॉर्मेंस 70, मोटिवेशन 100%. तो क्यों रह जाती है ये मिस 70%?
कारण पोषण की कमी. रोज के खाने से मिले सिर्फ 70% तक विटामिन्स और मिनरल्स. बाकी के लिए नया सुपरडिन डेली 5 गुना जिंक और 12 विटामिन्स के साथ, यानी ज्यादा एनर्जी और इम्यूनिटी.
खाने के साथ सुपरडिन.
Yeah, can you play the Saradon?
आज ना कोई बहाना है, आज मुस्कुराना है, सर दर्द छुपाना है, आज मुस्कुराना है, महफिल को
सरदर्द छुपाओ नहीं, मिटाओ। सैराडॉन नंबर 1 हेडेक स्पेशलिस्ट। इसका ट्रिपल एक्शन फॉर्मूला काम शुरू करे सिर्फ 5 मिनट में। सरदर्द छुपाओ नहीं, मिटाओ।
सिर्फ एक सैराडॉन।
Yeah, so as you can see, our approach has been, to encourage the consumers to use the category product as such. So whether it is in the nutrition where we are talking about why it is essential to take a multivitamin supplement, or in the case of Saradon where we are literally encouraging the consumer to take a headache medicine instead of hiding behind pain. So that's the point that I was making when I said that. Sorry, can I just go to my previous slide? Can you just put up my presentation again? Yeah. Oh no, the previous slide. Oh, it keeps going back. It's okay. We'll just continue. So yeah. So that's what I was saying, that raising awareness of the need to use the self-care product is really the first step. Whether it is a pain care product or it is a multivitamin supplement, and that is the biggest task in this country, and that will continue to be the biggest task in the wellness industry or in the self-care industry for the next decade, till we start hitting penetration levels, till we start hitting usage levels of close to 50%, 60%, which is how it is in some of the other Asian countries. We need to continue to educate the consumer on the need to use self-care products or wellness products as such. And like I said, we will need to prioritize growing the pie itself instead of continuing to try and get a bigger share of the pie. Yeah. I think a very important point. I think within this particular industry, the most important thing is to obviously understand the consumers, understand their real problems, and get into real solutions. If you're launching new product, I think if you're not starting with the understanding of the actual problem, then obviously you'll get into a challenge. Now, this is something which you can say about the entire consumer health or the entire FMCG industry itself, that you always have to start with the consumer. You always have to start with what is the problem you're trying to solve. We launched a brand called Bepanthen, which is basically a medicated skincare brand. We just launched it last year. And while some of the things we were aware, for example, 1 in 2 Indians has very, very dry skin, etc., something that we knew. But the connect that has into the emotional well-being, into the emotional health of the consumer is something that surprised us. So imagine a dry skin condition leading you to social anxiety. Okay, that kind of a linkage you will only get if you talk to the consumer, if you talk to the people, if you understand their problem. Only then will you get into real solutions. We do something called the headache survey in this country almost every 2 years, just to understand what is the incidence of headaches in this country, what gives people headaches, what action do they take. And within that survey itself, one of the insights we got was because we were asking the consumers, why don't you use a product for headache, etc., or why don't you use a product for body ache? And one of the points which they mentioned was that, look, we want a single product. Can we have a single product which will take care of both head and body? So we launched a product called Saradon Head and Body, which basically takes care of both the things. So multifunctional products. We got an insight that period pain is a big unmet need in this country. Yeah. So we've launched a product around period pain. So only if you talk to the consumers, only if you try and understand the real problems, then only you'll get the real solutions. Okay, often the tendency is to find the solution and then find a problem for it, or get into a solution and then find the problem for it. So that inversion of the funnel cannot happen. So we just need to, the brand role, like I said, listen very deeply, try and respond quickly, and use the insights to offer something which resonates and reassures the consumers. Wellness, I think a very important point, probably the most important point after awareness. I think we are now living in a situation, in a world where we have data on everything and information on nothing. Okay, we have all the data sources in the world. We have, from whether it is the war or it is the airline crash, everybody is an expert. Everybody becomes an expert when anything of that sort. Or cricket, everybody is an expert simply because of the amount of data sources that you have available. So we do have data on everything. But whether that data is leading you to some good information, that's a big question mark. Now, most wellness journeys today begin online, not at the doctor. Earlier, what used to happen was that you had a problem, you went to the doctor told you these are the things you need to do. Now, people have started their journey seeking information online. right? So the journeys have started changing. And in this kind of a scenario where you have so many data sources to choose from, and you don't really know what is the right source, I think there the brand's role becomes very, very important. So the brand has to act as the friendly guide, not as the gatekeeper of information, but an actual guide guide for the consumer. And a very simple principle that we ask our consumers to follow is this: ask, no act, encouraging the consumers to ask questions. If you're feeling fatigued, you ask yourself first, is this because of something that I'm not eating? Is this because of a sleep issue? So start by asking questions. Then you seek the knowledge. So ask, no, act, and then you act smart. So you seek the ask question, get the right information, and then you act smartly. I think only if you follow this kind of a step will you get into a very responsible or a well-informed self-care. And the brand role is really critical here, because brand is really the trusted voice everywhere. Brands need to simplify science. Brands need to counter misinformation. There are all kinds of influencers right now available. Okay, at the last count, there were about 10,000 plus health influencers in the metros, in the metro cities in India. 10,000, right? So there are too many of these, too many health influencers who are available, who are being followed. And it's the brand's role to ensure that they counter the misinformation. Some of them may be spreading misinformation, some of them may not be, some of them may be genuine also. But the brands have to do this role of being the trusted voice. So I think this probably for me is one of the most important points, that how do you provide the right information or good information to the consumer, so that they don't just follow the reels. You can still follow the reels, but don't just follow the reels, get the right information about self-care. I think no surprises. If I break down any of the micronutrients which your body needs, I think India is like the leading country in terms of percentages of people who are the most deficient. So whether it is vitamin D or any other micronutrient, we are literally the deficiency capital of the world for every single thing. And the starting point of that is that over 70% of the Indians, we don't even meet half of our daily nutrient need. And that's what leads to this whole cascading effect, etc. And that finally leads you to feeling fatigue. There was a survey that we did last year, which we called the fatigue survey, where we tried to understand what is the linkage of fatigue with the productivity of this country. And some very startling things came up, that, for example, 85% of the youth in this country, youth, I mean, the 25 to 35 kind of population, not that post 35 are not young, but 25 to 35% of the 25 to 35 age group, 85% of those were waking up tired. Can you imagine just waking up tired every single day? Okay, sometimes you may be partying or sometimes you may sleep late, but consistently, if you are waking up tired, it really means that there is something around the nutrition that you are intaking, which is creating this problem for you. Not surprisingly, these three metros came up, Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore came up as the three cities where the most tired people exist. Some of them maybe because of traffic also, I don't know. But yeah, so this really tells us that nutrition now, okay, is not a nice to have, or right nutrition isn't a nice to have. If you want to be a productive cell at all points in time, you really have to have you have to take care of this particular challenge. So it's a productivity hack in my mind. And again, the brand's role here is to build the gap between fatigue and nutrition, right? Otherwise, sometimes we don't connect the fatigue point with the nutrition point. We actually, if I was able to climb up, 5 rows of stairs till about 2 years back, and now I get tired while doing that, a lot of us will ascribe that to growing age, that I'm growing older, that's why I'm not able to do that. May be true, may not be true. More likely that your nutrition, there is something wrong with your nutrition. So it's ideal to get that checked. Yeah, so there is no linkage right now in the consumer's mind between fatigue and nutrition. And that's where brands can play a role and help them to link symptoms to the solution. That's the key brand role over there. I think, like I was saying earlier in the beginning, that wellness seems to create these luxury connotations in a mind. And it's not. It's really it's really something that needs to be done for everything. And it is important for us to not forget the 75% of the Indians, or the 70% of the Indians who live in rural India or semi-urban India. when we talk about wellness, I think the propensity is to just focus on the big cities or the metros, etc. But we have to fix the same problems that exist on nutrition in metros. They exist in rural India as well. And it is critical for brands to champion preventive health in rural India as well, so that you fix this inequality gap. There's this initiative called Nutrient Gap Initiative, which we've just piloted in rural Karnataka and in eastern UP, where essentially what we are doing is very simple. We are first trying to understand all the challenges which are there on the nutrition of the local population over there. We're trying to understand their awareness levels around the nutrition, and no surprises, most of them think that their diets are absolutely perfect. This is rural India, but the data disagrees. So we are raising awareness, going door to door around these consumers' health, and trying to understand, how can we change their behavior, and how do we get them to eat right food, and how can we get them to eat the right supplements as well, if required as such. So this is it's an exercise that we piloted. We are currently touching about 1.5 lakh consumers. It's in pilot phase, and we plan to extend it further. So the idea is that when we talk about taking the wellness movement forward, we cannot ignore semi-urban and rural India. We have to include them in this whole journey. Yeah, and of course, the future, I think this is no surprise. I think wellness, the future of wellness is really, getting into this whole area of, tailor-made self-care or precision health, yeah? So based on your age, your personal stress level, your gut health, and various other symptoms, your self-care needs will be very different from the person sitting next to you. Globally, I think there was a previous panel on AI in any case. So globally, we are using AI for early detection, symptom checks, smart choices. Bayer has this tool called, we have many AI tools. One of them is, for example, this Aspirin's heart tool, where essentially through a series of questions, we can predict whether or not you are going to have a heart problem later on in your stage of life. So it's a good thing to have, to understand the risk of cardiovascular diseases. And as we know, we are also the cardiovascular disease capital of the world. So good to have these kind of tools available. We will be making them available in India as well. Typically what we've seen is that consumers now want to prevent, and they want to manage health with insight. So they want to take the healthcare in their own hands. Earlier, the whole health area was a very reactive kind of an area, and that we've seen changing post-COVID. Post-COVID, consumers have become a little bit more proactive. They've become a little bit more conscious of the need to take care of their own health and their family's health. So the brand's role here is very clear. The brand needs to be a wellness co-pilot. It needs to provide the right tools with the right kind of information that can empower the consumers to take control, right? Only then will you have a self-care movement starting in this country. Yeah, I think bottom line is, and this is my last slide, bottom line is that wellness should be accessible, wellness should be credible, and wellness should be empathetic. Brands can definitely do a lot of stuff. Brands can scale, brands can provide support, brands can build trust. But a true wellness movement will need collaboration from all the pillars of the society. It will need partnering with the consumers. It will need partnering with the government. It will need partnering with innovators. It will need partnering within the industry of everyone. Only then can we start a wellness movement, which is really the need of the hour. If you want to hit the top 3 economies of the world, if you want to become the most productive nation, one of the most productive nations in the world, we've got to start a wellness movement in this country, and that can't be something that one company or 2 companies can do alone. It's something that will need a collaboration across these 3 pillars. So the brand's role or our role is literally to be a connector or a catalyst. We need to bring together ecosystems to solve these kind of wellness gaps. So I think only then can a wellness movement happen in this country. Thank you.